What's going on, y'all? Thanks for checking in the Khaliis Take. You know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell just so you can get the newest and the bonus content first. But hey, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You know, there are reports out there in regards to the Clippers' point guard situation. And there's 3 point guards that are being suggested that the Clippers should look into in this offseason. Now, one of the point guards, Ricky Rubio. I think Ricky Rubio is a very solid point guard. I think he's really good. I think he's got a great mind for the basketball. For basketball, I think he's got a great mind for the game. I think he's a very, very solid piece, and I think he would fit well with the Clippers. I really think he would, based upon, what he's able to do, passing and getting everybody where they need to be. And he's not a score-first point guard. And this is what we have to realize. The Clippers don't really need a score-first point guard. They need somebody who's willing to actually go along with the process and execute plans. And what I mean by that is to execute the plan is to get the ball to Kawhi and PG. You score on the back end when needed and knock down big shots if they're double teamed. That's what the Clippers need. And don't turn the ball over as much as Russell Westbrook. I mean, that's pretty much, the notion of any point guard that comes to the Clippers. That's what they need. They need a less turnover-worthy point guard who is effective when his number is called and who still doesn't mind having the pass-first mentality. That's what's going to work for the Clippers the most. They know that. We know that. Everybody knows that because they already have enough scorers. They got scorers all over their roster. It's not like they need any more offense than what they have. Their offense is legit. I mean, it's certified. They got guys on the bench who can come in the game and start and drop 20, 30 points easily. I mean, look at Amir Coffey. Nobody even knew who Amir Coffey was until this season because Ty Lue gave him an opportunity. This guy comes out and capitalizes on it. And this is what I'm talking about. When you have those type of guys or committee that can come off the bench and give you, great minutes, good production on the offensive end, play hard on the defensive end as much as they can, that's all a team can ask for. So the Clippers are loaded offensively. They just need a guy that can come in there and really distribute well and less turnover worthy prone. Because that's really what that's what it's going to take for them to get to that next level. And as I said before, I think the Clippers can still win a championship the way they are. I just think it'll be harder to win a championship the way they are. This is why I say I think Ricky Rubio would be a good fit for them if they were going out to acquire him, simply because Ricky Rubio would bring them exactly what they need. Somebody who's low tone, low key, mentally he's a low key guy. He's not a rah-rah guy. He's more like one of those guys who could walk into the locker room, fit the culture, fit the part, and understand his role and play it to perfection. Now, I am worried about him, coming off the ACL. I think Ricky Rubio had ACL or knee injury or a couple of knee injuries before. So I'm kind of worried about that a little bit, his health situation. But other than that, I think he's a real solid, possibility, for them. Because like I said, I like his IQ and I like what he can bring to the Clippers in regards to the way he plays, being crafty. And, he's actually a kind of exciting player too, because he's always had some dope passes, like just behind the back and certain type of flash plays. He's always, brought that to his game, but he's always, as he's been in the NBA a long time, he's learned to be less turnover worthy prone while he's doing it. He just evolved more with it, as the more he's played. So I've always respected his game. I've always liked him. I even liked him when he was on the Timberwolves, back in the day. So, I think that's a good pick. Now, the second pick that they spoke about is Derrick Rose. Now, I've always loved Derrick Rose. He's always been one of my favorite players. Man, I used to love watching Derrick Rose back in the day. We look at Ja Morant now, and that's who he really reminds us of, Derrick Rose. And me personally, even though Ja Morant is as good as he is, he's not better than Derrick Rose was in his prime. Let's just go ahead and get that out the way. Because I guarantee you, if Derrick Rose played the Minnesota Timberwolves in the 7-game series in his prime, he wouldn't have had no 14 average, 15 points. He would have had 30 something because there's no way nobody could stay in front of Derrick Rose in his prime. To me, he was just better than Ja Morant. That's just my opinion. Now, I think Ja Morant will be better overall going forward, because I think if he stays healthy anyway, if he stays healthy, he'll be better overall. But I mean, just based on this is Ja's best year based on like Derrick's best year, not even close. But what I need to say is this: Derrick Rose would be a great fit for the Clippers as well, because Derrick Rose understands who he is now. He knows he's not that superstar player he was. He knows that he needs to go in there and be effective. He knows that he needs to go in there and be the best player he can be. Now, this past year with the Knicks, he had a little ankle injury or something like that. But he did average, I think, 12 points and about 5 assists with 44% shooting. Now, Ricky Rubio averaged 13 points with about 6 assists, but he was only shooting like 36% from the field. So with Derrick Rose, you get a little bit more of a dynamic, because Derrick Rose can score in a multitude of ways. He still can get to the rim. He's still pretty quick off the dribble when he decides to use that. And his three-point shot is better. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's a better three-point shooter than I ever thought he would be. You see what I'm saying? It's like he really revamped his game to another level, because now he's more in control of what he's doing, and he's got a jump shot, something that he didn't have in his prime. So, I mean, when you look at Derrick Rose, he's definitely one of those point guards who doesn't mind passing first. I mean, because honestly, if you ask me, he's one of the Knicks' best players, if not the best player on the Knicks, if you ask me, because Julius Randle is trash. RJ Barrett is making a come up, and nobody else on that team is really any good. Obi Toppin is okay, but he just dunks. So he's not helping them win. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, really, I feel like the run that the Knicks made, I think last year or the year before last, when they played Atlanta, I think in the playoffs, I think they got that far because of Derrick Rose. You know what I'm saying? Because of his gameplay and his wisdom and his IQ for the game now is a lot higher than it was, because he's learned to be more in control of his game and how he plays and how he's effective in the game. So I think, you add somebody like him with Kawhi and PG, man, you're talking about a real dynamic team, if they can get the maximum out of Derrick Rose, and which I believe they'd be able to, because I think he would be a highly motivated, way more motivated to play for the Clippers than he is the Knicks. I think he could have actually came back this past season, but I mean, the Knicks are such trash, and he knows Julius Randle trash. He probably just doesn't tell him that, but he knows Julius Randle ain't no damn good. So it's like, why come back for a guy who's not even really a superstar? I mean, Julius Randle, they paid him all that money in New York because they had nobody else to give it to. You see what I'm saying? He's definitely not the number one guy. He's definitely not the guy you need to get anywhere in the playoffs. Everybody can see that. Julius Randle's just not it. So my point is this: if they were able to acquire somebody like Derrick Rose, that'd be nice. It would be really kind of difficult if you ask me, though, because I don't think Derrick Rose is a free agent this summer. But at the same time, they would have to make a trade for Derrick Rose if they did get him. But really, that would be a decent trade if they didn't have to give up awfully too much to get him. You know what I'm saying? I don't really think they would, because, Derrick Rose is not the player he used to be. His contract is not even close to what it was or what it would have been way back then. So it's easier to make a move for somebody like him. But even though Tom Thibodeau, the coach for the Knicks, you'd have to give up you probably would have to give up a lot, because he loves Derrick Rose. That's his guy. That's his boy. He always loved Derrick Rose. That's his Brody right there. You know what I'm saying? Like he almost looks at him. I feel like he almost looks at him as like a son figure. I should say that. He looks at him like another son. So you'd have to probably give up a lot to get Derrick Rose, because he just loves that kid. So we understand that 110%. But if it was possible and they didn't have to give up so much, and they can kind of do something within reason to get him, I definitely would at least consider it, because I definitely, I've always liked Derrick Rose. And like I said, I like him now. I like what he brings to the Knicks. I just know the Knicks aren't good enough for him. I feel like Derrick Rose needs to be in a situation where he can possibly win a championship, because he's not getting any younger. You see what I'm saying? So I would like to see Derrick Rose go out with a championship with all the things he's been through and everything like that. He pretty much, for the most part, stays healthy, more so now than he ever did in his past, which is good, and I think that can serve him well, going forward. You know what I'm saying? So I think I would actually like that pickup as well if they were able to do that. I really think that would be a good fit and a good culture for Derrick Rose. He's a good guy. He would come in the locker room. He would fit right in. Ty Lue coached him before. Ty Lue definitely believes in Derrick Rose. Always has, just like everybody else has, at least one point in his career. And like I said, you wouldn't be asking much from him. And what they need from Derrick Rose, he's already given to the Knicks. He comes off the bench. He comes in there, he averages 15, 16 points a game. He averages about, like I said, 5, 6 assists. He only averages like 1 point or 2 point. I think it's 1.8 or something like that. He only averages a couple turnovers a game, at least this past season. So it's like he's not turnover worthy. He knows how to handle the ball. And like I said, he still can get to the rim and finish around the rim in a fancy, flashy way at times. You know what I'm saying? He still can do a lot of those things. So him getting to the rim, penetrating with Kawhi and PG out there and all the rest of the shooters they got, man, the Clippers would be just, the Clippers would be like Showtime. Basically, they would be on another level, if they had a player like that. So I definitely would like that pick too if they were able to do it. But I think, it would be kind of difficult. I mean, like I said, I just don't want to see nobody go from the Clippers right now. I like their roster. I like what they have. I like all the pieces they got. You just don't want to see nobody go because, you like the way their roster is made up and the guys they have on there. So it's hard to see anybody on the Clippers, go right now because they have a really good roster and everybody understands one another and the chemistry is good. Everybody fits, seem like, right now with the Clippers. So, it would be, bad or sad to see anybody else go. I hate to see Serge Ibaka go actually, but what I'm saying, it's a business at the end of the day. So you got to respect it for what it is. And the last pick or the last option that, is being set out there on sites, of course, is the one we've talked about before in John Wall. And like I said, I think John Wall's situation is very, very tricky because, like I said, his contract, his health, he really hasn't been playing like that. And like I said, the Clippers wouldn't need much out of John Wall. They really wouldn't. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like, I'm going to say this. I feel like John Wall has been humbled over these last couple years in the player that he used to be rather than the player he is now. And I feel like he would come into the situation with the Clippers and play with the level head. I just feel like, at some point he might get a little cocky and start, playing, basketball the way he used to and start turning the ball over. And that's one thing John Wall always had to work on, his turnovers. What I'm saying? As far as his talent, he's always had talent. He's always been a talented player. At one time, I would say, he was a top 5 point guard in the league at one time. I can definitely give him that. He was definitely a top 5 point guard in the league at one time. So he's shown that he can be an all-star, everything. What I'm saying? He's definitely got the talent, always had it. But the thing with John Wall is, as I said, even now, his health is an issue. But you could say the same thing about Derrick Rose. You could say the same thing about Ricky Rubio. But, for the most part, I say Derrick Rose has been healthy the last couple years for the most part. He's had little ankle injuries here and there, but he hasn't had nothing major like no knee surgeries or anything like he used to. So, I mean, but you could say he's injury prone a little bit too. So I respect that if you think that. But at the same time, I just feel like John Wall wouldn't really fit what the Clippers need because, like I said, they need somebody with more of a higher IQ in the way they play. And John Wall is a talented player. He's not a high IQ player because his game really is more about still probably using his athleticism and being effective that way because John Wall doesn't have a jump shot still, and his athleticism and his speed is all he's ever had. You see what I'm saying? So if he doesn't have a jump shot now that he's older, well, he's probably not going to develop one anytime soon. And if if the Clippers are going to go after somebody, they need somebody with a jump shot, a knockdown shooter now. They don't need you to have to develop in 1 or 2 years, which I don't see John Wall doing that. By now, John Wall is who he is. You know what I'm saying? If you don't develop a jump shot by now at the late stages of your career, then you're probably never going to develop one. That's usually how it goes. Maybe with an exception of 1 or 2 players or a few players here and there. I can think of Jason Kidd as one of them. Jason Kidd developed a jump shot his last 2 years of his career and really turned into a pretty decent 3-point shooter. When back in the day, he was a piss poor shooter and the only thing he could do was pass. But he was so dynamic passing, he took the Nets to 2 finals and he couldn't even shoot. So it's like that shows you how dominant Jason Kidd was on the floor and how much he knew and how much his basketball IQ and how high it was. This is the reason why I say The same thing Kawhi Leonard said a couple years ago when they imploded in the bubble. You need high IQ basketball players. They don't have to be the greatest. They don't have to be superstars. They ain't got to be top 75 players. They need to have high IQ, because when you play this game at a high level in the playoffs, decision making is everything. When you are playing against a team who matches up with you well, turnovers are detrimental, especially in a 7-game series. And this is what I'm saying about John Wall. John Wall is a very talented player. I'm never going to say John Wall is trash, because he's not trash. You know what I'm saying? He's a very talented player. And if I've said he's trash before, I must have just been going on a rant. But he's not a trash player at all. He's a very, very talented player. But high IQ, really make those type of plays, or the play when you need him to make it, or hit the shot when you need him to hit the shot. No, he's not that type player. He never has been. And like I said, his game hasn't evolved over the years because he's either been injured or not playing that much. And like I said, if he's what a lot of people think he is, then how come Houston don't want to keep him? Or how come his name is always out there as in like being traded between the Lakers and Clippers? I say this last year or two, between the Lakers and Clippers, he basically might as well play for both of the teams, because this last year or two, there's always been nothing but trade talks surrounding his contract and the Houston Rockets wanting to move on from him. So this is what I'm saying. You don't know what you're getting out of John Wall, and it's an uncertain and it's an unknown, just like it was with Eric Bledsoe. This is what I'm telling the Clippers organization. Stop making mistakes and doing things like that. That's just wasting your time. Eric Bledsoe was a waste of time. You see, he just was. I mean, he didn't even make it a full season with the Clippers. Just like I said in my videos back then, I didn't think he was really a good fit. This and that. Some people was riding with me. Some people believe me. Some people didn't. I respect your opinion. I always do. But I always try to give you the real. And I just didn't see a player that's the unknown, don't know what you're going to get out of him, a journeyman, being a good fit for a team who's trying to win a championship. That doesn't make sense. If you're going to bring somebody on the roster, you need to know what they can do. You need to really feel confident about who they are and what they can bring to the team and add to the team, not bring him on to the team and you don't even feel like, is he going to be good or not? Let's just take a chance. That's not what you need to be doing if you're trying to win a championship. You need to feel more like you know what you're getting out of these players. That's the reason why Eric Bledsoe didn't make it a whole season, because he came in the season as the unknown. Yeah, he's got talent. He's always had talent, but the reason why he never stayed on one team, because it's just no consistency. And at some point he you know what I'm saying, he flails off. At some point he falls off during the season. He doesn't play the same, or he doesn't have the same, whatever you want to call it. Something goes wrong with players like that who are the unknown. And that's where I think of John Wall. If they get John Wall, they don't know what they're getting. And if you don't know what you're getting and you're trying to pursue a championship, it can hinder you from getting what you want, what is a championship. So the Clippers only need to go after players that they at least feel more confident about. And I'm confident in saying they will feel more confident if they were able to acquire a Derrick Rose. I'm more confident in saying they will feel more confident if they were able to acquire a Ricky Rubio or a Goran Dragic or somebody like that. They will feel more confident because they know mentally what they're getting out of those players. Ricky Rubio may get hurt, but when he's on the floor, his basketball IQ is one of the highest in the NBA, because he's a pass first point guard. He doesn't turn the ball over much, and he can knock down a shot if need be. Same thing with Derrick Rose. Same thing with Goran Dragic. And at times you can ask them to do a little bit more. Derrick Rose can come out there and have a 25, 30-point game. He had plenty of them with the Knicks this past season. So, I mean, it's like at times you can ask those players to do a little bit more if needed, because you can count on them, because you trust the way they play and you trust the process of how they play and how it integrates with what you're trying to do. And this is the reason why I said I don't feel like John Wall will be a fit, because you don't know what you can trust about him. You just believe in his talent, but that's not good enough when you're trying to win a championship. You got to believe in that player. You got to believe in that player's abilities. You got to believe that player will make plays when it comes time. Not, oh, well, he's very, very talented, so hopefully, you know what I'm saying, he'll figure it out. No, that's not how you need to think. You need to be more for certain about your approach, your direction, and that's what the Clippers need to do if they want to win a championship. So I don't know who they're going to pick, or I don't know who's going to really be available, or who they're going to trade for, but the notion is out there, even more so now, about the point guard, even more so than it was last year, the year before, when they got Rondo, who was a bust, who was trash to me. But I mean, hey, whatever point guard, whatever position they decide to fill, or, you know, additionally add to their team, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes. But hopefully they make the right decision, and hopefully it works out for them where they win a championship in the end. But hey, that's my take on everything. Leave any comments in the comment section as always. And hey, Khaliis out.